Good morning, All Souls Community Church. Today's Thursday, April 2nd, and I'm coming to you in the dark this morning because I don't want you to be in the dark anymore. Yesterday, I shared a devotional about fasting and prayer and a call to fast and prayer. Can I tell you that of all the devotionals that I've done over the last weeks, that was the one with the least amount of views and shares. And you know, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by that, because the call to self-denial is not one that any of us like to hear or want to hear, especially when we're in this wilderness time. But I want to come to you because with this challenge this morning, God gives us prayer, and specifically fasting and prayer, as part of his pathway through a time in the wilderness, a way to make sense of it and a way to follow his leading. Because fasting and prayer challenges us to see one thing: what are we actually hungering for? If you did fast with me yesterday, thank you. Honest question, did you find yourself irritable at different times? Did you find yourself lacking in patience in different scenarios? Did you find yourself anxious at different points during the day, maybe more so than you would have been? Can I tell you that that's one of the gifts of fasting? Is it takes away one of the clear buffers that we have when we're fully fed and comfortable. And it gives us a window into where are we actually hungering for the wrong things? Where am I hungering for comfort and control over my life, and therefore choosing to be my own Lord rather than trusting in the one who is? You see, Jesus, as we talked about yesterday, when he first came to this earth, he fasted and prayed for 40 days in the wilderness. But one of the things he did after that was then he took a crowd out into that very same wilderness and for an entire day taught them. And they were hungry and they fasted without even knowing it. And they came to the end of that day and Jesus did this miracle. He fed 5,000 people with 5 loaves and 2 fish. And then he said something crazy to them. He said, "You're satisfied now because I've given you something for your belly, but you're hungering for the wrong food. You're hungering for the wrong food. Don't you understand? If you eat this food, you're going to get hungry again. But I've come that you might feast on me. You might eat my body and drink my blood." And they had the same response that you just did. Cannibalism? This is weird. We can't follow this guy. And yet they missed it the entire time. They missed the fact that from the beginning, God was inviting his people to delight in him, to feast upon him. Taste and see, the psalmist says in Psalm 34, that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge, finds hiding in him. Or like the psalmist writes in Psalm 119, "Lord, your word is better than honey. It's like the honeycomb on my lips. It's so sweet to my taste." God had been saying from the beginning, I want you to learn to feast on me, to follow me. Why? Because I'm the way through life in this world, which God tells us is one thing: wilderness. Wilderness. And so Jesus, after making that crazy claim, and many people left him because of it, turns to his disciples and says, "Will you also leave?" And Peter says to him at that point, "Lord, where else would we go? For you alone have the word of life." Peter got it in that moment. And God wants us to learn to get it in this moment. That our way, which is no way at all through a wilderness, only leaves us right here. When we hunger and thirst for our own comfort and our own control, we can't make a way out of this. If there's anything the coronavirus is showing us, it's that. We're not in control and we can't do it. But there is one who came to be our way through this wilderness. In the same way that he led his people Israel through the wilderness to the promised land, Jesus has come to be the way, the truth, and the life, the way to the Father through the wilderness. And he calls us today to learn to put our trust in him more than we did yesterday. And so fasting and prayer is one of the ways that we see where we're not, but it's also his invitation to do so. And you know what he promises when we do that? When we put our trust and our faith in him more than in ourselves, it's not just that our bellies will be filled, but he says, "Blessed is the one who hungers and thirsts for righteousness, for the King of righteousness, for he or she shall be satisfied." My prayer for us today, All Souls Community Church, is that we will be satisfied with the one that we were made to delight in today. God be with you.